Hey everybody, how you doing? It's another Friday night. DM, hello, how are you, my dear? Propus. We have Linda Horner and Miss Mary, and there's more in here. I'll have to wait till it scrolls up so I can see them. Hello, DM. So good to see you. Uh, I'll tell you, I missed you today. I figured you were at work during Dangerous Deplorables live stream, but it's always good to see you, DM. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, Dangerous Freedom, my dear brother. But as we go, we've got six in here. Let's try to get 10, and then I'll get started. We can talk about things like, you know, uh, my internet phone number is gone. I no longer have the internet phone number. If you want to call me, you can call 404-938-7562, and I will answer if you call me between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So this is my contact number if you'd like to call. I'm not going to keep it there long just because there's so many other things to get through here. So let's see. We're going to go through some stuff tonight. I'll be honest with you. I have a script, but somebody called me a couple hours ago and we got to talking. And I feel like this might be a topic that we need to dive into. And we'll get to that. But first we have to mention DM and History B on Saturday nights. And if I'm correct, after them at 10 o'clock, you usually find Knight's Armory. You also find Knight's Armory a lot of times on Saturday or Sunday morning. He's a great guy to have coffee with. So check out Knight's Armory. He's the one that sent me this special knife right here. But anyway, that doesn't matter. While I'm going at it, I did this today, but I got to do it again. Oh, if I can reach behind me. I want everybody to look at this. I got this in the mail yesterday. I'm going to do this, and it's going to be tomorrow before I can put it back in. But this is a baton. Let's do this. There it is. See? Now you have a baton. That's the same baton that Antifa used against us. And now it's back inside. So, anyway, my dear friend and brother, Dangerous Freedom, the other half of Dangerous Deplorable, sent me this for Christmas, and it was a surprise. I wasn't expecting it. And Dangerous Freedom, I appreciate you for that, my brother. I will keep it right here, handy. Oh, there we go. Hanging right beside Knight's Armory K-Bar knife. So hopefully tonight we'll get more people in here than 10. We've got 10, so we've got to get started. But you have to remember on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. I have a Bible study. 8 p.m. on Sunday night, Dangerous Deplorables on Deplorable Bobby channel. And we, you know what we do. We just have fun. We try to bring up topics of the day, but we try to have fun with it. And then before we go live at 8 p.m., you have Disabled Vets Perspective at 7 p.m. On Thursday nights, you have Tony Patriot. And I'll be honest with you, American Joe and Pete the Patriot go live a lot through the week, usually around 2 o'clock in the afternoon is Pete the Patriot. But you're just going to have to go to American Joe, subscribe to his channel, as well as Pete the Patriot and Tony Patriot and all these other people, DM and History B. We got to go to all these channels. If they have content, subscribe. And if you don't like their content, don't subscribe. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that we are a Patriot family, and we have been ever since Tony Patriot named us that. And we have stuck together as a family. These 10 people in here, I guarantee you, are part of that family. And we'll get more, hopefully, before the night is over. But there's some topics I want to talk about, and I just want to make sure that everybody's ready to listen to it and all of the hellos and all that stuff is pretty much taken care of. I would love to see 20 people in here today. Dangerous Freedom and I did a Dangerous Deplorable video, and we had 28 people up there. And at the end of the video, we had 90 views. So we had a good afternoon. And I'm hoping this turns out the same way, but it is Friday night. I understand that. So people are out eating supper, they're doing all kinds of things. But tonight I want to talk about something that we all need to understand, because I hadn't really thought about it. But I was talking to my dear friend Stony Stone, and we got to talking about this. And then I came to realize, a lot of people don't understand the difference between a revolution and a civil war. People think that we're headed for a civil war. I hope we're not. Some people say we're headed to a revolution. I hope we are. Because here's the thing. A revolution is the people against the government. Just like in Virginia, say, okay? You have Ralph Northam, he's wanting to impose martial law. He's wanting to black out the internet. He's wanting to black out the state. He's wanting to bring in the National Guard. He's wanting to do all these things against these sheriffs who refuse to obey his Second Amendment unconstitutional law. Okay, so now that's Virginia. Now let's put this on a bigger scale. If something like that happens in Virginia, Donald Trump will have no recourse. He'll have to do something. And by him doing something, anything, whatever it is, we don't know what he might do. He may kick Northam right out of the dang capital of Virginia, and he may replace him with somebody. I don't know what he's going to do, but I guarantee you this. No matter what he does, it's not going to change the fact that we're already in a revolution. A revolution is against the government. It's not civil war. In order for us to be in civil war, we have to fight each other. I don't want to kill you. I don't want you to shoot at me and kill me. I don't know most of the people. If it ever came to this, I don't know the people that I'd come across. They come from Pennsylvania and everywhere else, across the north. And here we are in the south. It's not going to be another civil war from north and south. It's going to be a civil war in our streets, in our cities, in our towns, in our states. And that's what we can't allow to happen. And in order to stop a civil war, we need to have a revolution. You've seen revolutions all across the world. You've seen them in France. You've seen them in Germany. You've seen them in China. But see, we're not China. We're not Russia. We're not Germany. We're not any of these countries. See, we are American patriots. We are armed American patriots who stand by the Constitution as it was written. And with the Second Amendment, we stand firm that we have the right to keep and bear arms. We have the right to protect ourselves. We have the right to protect our property. We have the right to protect our family and our belongings. So we're going to have to stand with that. But you see, it doesn't matter, because if it's a revolution or a civil war, we still have to react the same way. We have to be prepared for the battle. I pray never a civil war in America again. I never want to see brother against brother and friend against friend and relative against relative ever again killing each other. I don't want to see that. But what I do want to see is I want to see America start a revolution against people like Ralph Northam in Virginia. If those people stood up and they revolted against him, and I don't know, I don't, with Northam the way he is, you probably couldn't do it peaceably. I would hope that you could. I hope you could stand up. All these American patriots march on the dang capital of Virginia with their guns in hand, and they walk up there and they take over the Capitol and they depose him. But see, before it goes that far, he's going to institute a martial law with the National Guard. But there again, he's going to institute the National Guard. Who is the National Guard? The National Guard are Virginians. Do you think for a minute these Virginians are going to go against their own families and friends? Do you see where I'm coming from? How ludicrous is this Northam in Virginia with his pushing these unconstitutional gun laws? The sheriffs are standing up against him. The National Guard will not stand with him. They're not going to kill their own family and friends. And you and I aren't going to stand with him either, just like the people in Virginia. So see, this is a revolution. It's a revolution against the government. It doesn't matter if it's within a state or if it's within the whole United States. It doesn't matter if we're revolting against D.C. or if we're revolting against a state like Virginia or California or Washington or Oregon. It's about time we stood up and revolted against those states. It's time. We told them it's enough. We as American patriots, we've died, we've bled, we've sacrificed for this country. People, it's not like rocket science. It's simple and plain. We've come to a point in our society. We've come to a point in our world, in the world we live in every single day. Every single day we wake up and we're right here. And you know what's happening right here? Right here in the United States of America, our rights are being tramped upon. I didn't mean to say Trump. They're being tramped upon, walked upon, kicked around by these liberal, panty-waist, progressive Satanists who call themselves demon rats. I want to tell you, we have a battle, and we have a battle that we can win. There's no way, if it came to a conflict, there is no way on God's green earth that a demon rat could stand against a patriot. We're pro-life, we're pro-gun, we're pro-America, we're pro-God. We do have God on our side, believe it or not. American patriots who believe in this country and our Constitution and the way it was founded on the principles of God, you have to be on the right. I'm sure there's some people who claim to be, Republicans or conservatives, but they're not patriots. You see, we need to all be patriots, not just Republicans, patriots. That's the word we need to start singing everywhere we go and shouting. We don't need to worry about being Republican or Democrat. We don't need to worry about being a conservative or a liberal. What we need to concern ourselves with is, who are we? We are Americans. Plain and simple. There's no other way around it. And nobody is going to take away from me my God-given right to keep and bear arms. They're not going to take away my First Amendment to speak. They're not going to take away my Fifth Amendment to not incriminate myself. I'm not going to be one of those. And neither are you. So we need to be prepared for the revolution, because the revolution is what matters. A civil war will cause nothing but pain and death. I guarantee you, if the revolution ever starts against our government, every one of these demon rat liberals, I don't care if they're on your neighborhood or if they're, in DC, they're going to run for hell. They're going to run for cover because they don't want to fight. They don't know how to fight, and they can't fight. It's that plain and simple. But we need to be aware that we don't need a civil war in this country. That's the last thing we need, is family killing family. That's the last thing we need. But we do need a revolution. We need a revolution to stand up to our government. We need to be a revolution willing to fight to keep America free. Right now, we're blessed. We have Donald Trump in the White House. He's not going to be there forever. So what are we going to do when he's gone? So in the meantime, we have to build ourselves as patriots. We have to prepare. We have to prepare food. We have to prepare guns. We have to prepare ammo. We have to be prepared for the worst. We can always hope for the best. But my friend, I promise you, it may not be in my lifetime, but a revolution again is coming to America. And we need to all be aware of that. And we all need to try to head it off in any way we can. But the problem is not in our hands. I mean, when you stop and think about it, you've got these demon rats who all they do is lie. All they do is con, cheat. They're thieves, and they're just evil. And they kill babies. That they would kill you if they thought they could make $1 off of you. They don't mind killing people. They don't mind murdering people. So we have to be aware, and we've got to start a revolution to stop it. We've got to take these people out of office. Maybe we can do it at the polls. I doubt it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk about something else because I'm sick and tired of talking about those. We only have a revolution coming, and that's the only thing it can be, because if it's a civil war, we will fail and everybody will suffer. So don't have a civil war, no matter what you do. Don't fight your friends. Don't fight your family. I'm not going to kill you. I don't want you to kill me. I don't want to kill anybody in government, but if it comes to it, and we have to start a revolution to take our country back, then be prepared. That's all I'm going to say. We do have President Trump. Thank God for him. And he's doing a pretty good job, but that's questionable on some levels, but he's doing a good job. He's been around a long time. And President Trump has issued a stern warning to California. Governor Newsom in California on Christmas Day threatened federal intervention of Newsom is unable and willing to solve the homeless crisis in California. So if he doesn't do something by Christmas Day, well, nothing was done Christmas Day by Governor Newsom of California. California critic, if you're in here, I hate talking about your state, brother, but we're going to talk about California and their homeless for a minute, because I'll tell you, it's out of hand. President Trump tweeted that Governor Gavin has done really a bad job taking care of the homeless population in California. If he can't fix the problem, the federal government will get involved. So now you have President Trump threatening to get involved in California with the homeless crisis. That's because this governor, this Gavin Newsom, is a total loser. He has no business sense, and he's a total idiot. Because I'm going to tell you, California has led the nation in the number of homeless people, with an estimated 130,000 in January 18. Well, it's January 2020 almost. So in 2 years, how has that number grown? According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, according to their report, there was 130,000 homeless in California, which is 1/25th of, or should I say 25% of all homeless people in America live in California. Now, what does that tell you? If you've got 25% of all the homeless people in America living in one state, where do the other ones live? Believe me, there are other states that have a large number of homeless. And then, of course, you have the scattered few here and there across America. But most of our homeless live in these major cities. And LA has a quarter of all homeless people. You know, California's led the nation in the number of homeless people for years. An amazing 68% of the homeless in California are categorized as unsheltered. So you do have some homeless in California who are in shelters and missions and things like that, and they actually have a cot to sleep on, you know, and a roof over their head, and they get fed. Of course, they're living off of you and me making contributions, you know, to that place where they get fed and clothed and a place to sleep and a place to take a shower. So you've got 68% that never go there. People, that's a lot of people. You take 68% of 130,000, that's a lot of people on the streets of California that take no help from the missions or the shelters or things like that. Because these people are living on the street because they want to be on the street. The people in the shelters are those who are there because some catastrophe hit their life. You know, something happened in their life to where their financial situation just flopped. You know, it hit rock bottom and all they had was a car. You know, so they started sleeping in their car and living in their car. Eventually they hooked up with a shelter, you know, and they got a job and, you know, so that's how it works. You know, if you don't want to be homeless, you don't have to be homeless. You can be homeless and live in a shelter, learn an occupation, and still get fed and have a roof over your head and help you get back on your feet. But you see, that's too much work. See, the homeless don't want to work. They're not going to work. Not the 68%. You know, earlier this month, Newsom blamed Trump for the rising homeless in LA and San Francisco. Now, I don't know how Trump is guilty of that, but according to Newsom, the White House was taking no action on housing first, which is Newsom's approach to solving homelessness. The proposal involves getting people in homes first and adding jobs and training or addiction services later. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. You're going to go down on the streets of LA. You're going to grab up these homeless people. You're going to put them in this nice new high rise that you just built just for them. Everything's economy. Everything's, you know, high tech. All you got to do is go in there. Okay. You got to go in there and live. And we're not going to worry about training you for a job in order to pay a little rent for where you're living. We'll do that later. You see what I'm saying? The first thing they want to do is get you off the street and into a high rise or into an apartment complex. And they don't care if you have the money to pay for it. They don't care if you have the education to pay for it. They don't care what you have. It's always get them in the housing first. Because see, once you've got them in housing, then your numbers go so high. You know, they just start rising. You know, you got all these homeless off the street, but yet they're not working. They have no occupation. They have no training. They have no desire. All they're doing is living off the government again in another way. And I'm going to tell you, you may think I'm cruel, mean, and just a horrid person, but I have very little sympathy for homeless people. I want to tell you, I've been to the point to where I had nothing. I didn't have a pot to pee in. I didn't have a place to sleep, but I never was homeless. I would go out and do whatever I had to do to survive and not be on the streets. I've never been in a mission. I've never been in under a bridge. Thank God for that. Because I always had, when I did reach rock bottom, I always had something to reach up to and pull myself up again rather than stay on the bottom. I'm going to tell you, when you hit rock bottom, a lot of times it's so easy just to give up. And I think that's what a lot of homeless people do is they just give up and they say, there's no way out of here. And so I'm going to do what I have to do to live and survive until I die. I don't think that most people want to be homeless. But I think that a lot of them have been quelled into a group of people, into a society of the homeless. And in that homeless group of people, they have become a cancer. They have deteriorated as human beings. They have fallen from the true belief in who God is. And they're living on the streets. They're living hand to mouth. And they're defecating on the streets. There's feces everywhere. You know, I'm going to tell you right now that Newsom and his state, along with his demon rat cohorts, they created this homeless mess in California. You, Newsom, I'm pointing at you, brother. You can't blame Trump forever about everything wrong in California. You need to forget about his hair and his hair gel and his looks and get to the real problem in California. So quit worrying about Trump's hair and what kind of hair gel he wears or how much hair gel he wears, and do something in your own state to help your own state and your own people. You're not capable of that. See, and that's the problem, Newsom. If I ever get these papers separated, we'll go on. But Governor Newsom is doing a horrible job in California to include forest management across the state. But wait a minute. We know that we've had all these fires in California. We know that those fires supposedly were caused from electrical lines. I don't know, and I don't really believe that. I know, come on. But the problem is they've done no deforestation. You know, they haven't gone into these forests and culled out all of the dead trees, and burned them in a different spot, or turned them into pulpwood, or, made a plywood out of them. They could have done something with these dead trees, but they did nothing. So whenever you do get a spark, all these dead trees laying on the ground go up. And when they go up, so do the young trees. So do the new trees. They all go up because there's so much tinder on the ground. All these dead trees, because they do nothing in their forest. They have a forest commission, but why don't they do something? What are they doing? What are they counting? Salmon in the river? But Newsom said Trump has spent the entire 2019 year attacking our institutions and fellow Americans. Oh my God. Putting kids in cages. Can you believe he's still saying that kind of stuff? Putting kids in cages. That was Obama's era. But yet Trump's getting the blame. He's getting the blame for all those old pictures back in 14 and 13. But giving tax cuts to the wealthy, denying climate change. So we're going to leave that old Newsom in the dust. He's going to fade away. He's going to be just like Ralph Northam. He's going to go away. California has over 140,000 homeless people. And that's over a quarter of all the homeless people in America. So you tell me, why do we have a state that allows that? Why do we have a governor who is so inept that he can't control his own state at any level? At any level. The homeless is just one instance. But the truth of the matter is this. He makes it easy for people to be homeless. And I know you're going to get mad at me for this. You're going to say I'm mean, I'm callous, I'm uncaring, I'm unloving. But that's not what it is. I look at things in reality for what they are. And it's not because I think it. It's because I've been on the streets of these cities. I've seen these people. I know how they act. I've talked to them. And I'm going to tell you, what I'm about to tell you is not a lie. And I'm not saying it's every single person that you find homeless, by no means. But the majority, according to statistics, only 1% of homeless people are actually facing a life crisis. Did you hear that? 1%. facing a life crisis. The other 99% of the homeless people choose to be homeless because they're lazy people and they've chosen a lifestyle of handouts so they can drink booze and do drugs all day long. And if you think I'm lying to you, you got your head in the sand. They sleep and they poop anywhere they want to. They pretend of being in a crisis so you'll feel sorry for them. You know, and under President Trump's economy, every person who wants to work can work. There's that many jobs out there. There's more jobs out there than there are people to fill them. So don't tell me you're homeless because you can't find a job. You're homeless because you choose to be. But most homeless people just want to drink, do drugs, prostitute, poop on the sidewalk, and sleep anywhere they choose on the city streets. And that's just a fact of the matter. I don't care if you get mad at me or not, but I'm not giving these people a free ride nowhere. I'm going to tell you, there's no reason to be homeless. Homeless is a choice. Homeless people have many options. They can get on their feet and they can be productive members of society. But the hobo lifestyle is so much easier than working and paying bills and living like a productive member of society. The homeless blame everyone and everything for their homelessness. You know, they blame everybody for their life on the street. You know, they always have that sad, sob story. When the truth is, they choose to be homeless and can only blame themselves for living on the street. It is a choice. You know, from the Canadian border to the Mexican border, homeless people take all they can from one city and then they simply move to another city. You know, it's free food, free clothing, and all they need. See, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I mean, I'll be honest with you, people. I've had family members who were homeless, and I'm going to tell you right now, they were homeless because they chose to be homeless. I have been so down and out in my life that I could have been homeless. All I had to do was just say it's easier to not try. But I've always been a trier. I've always been a doer. I've always been trying to get something done. I'll never want to live in squalor. You know, these street leeches want to be a ghost on society. You know, they want to stay off the radar from everything. You know, they're under the radar. I've met people on the street, and my boss was looking for some people to hire. And I just happened to run across a couple of people one day, and I said, y'all want to work? We just needed some general labor. And, you know, they said, yeah, we'll work. And he said, well, you know, I have to give you a 1099. And that's just my boss. He has to, he 1099s everybody. He doesn't do casual labor. So if you worked, he would hand you a 1099. Now, you could take that 1099 and throw it in the trash. For one day's work, it'd never be seen. I mean, the IRS ain't going to go that deep. So you could get away with it 100 times over. But yet, these people wouldn't do it because they didn't even want their name on a piece of paper. So you see, that's what I'm talking about. They're under the radar. They don't want to be known, and that's just the way it is. Homeless panhandlers make much more than minimum wage. Let me tell you that. I can prove it. And they beg for money, and that's all they do. You know, most don't worry or want any help other than money so they can feed their addictions. You know, I drove a truck for 7 years, and I've been to many truck stops all across America. And there's been many times I've seen people out front of the restaurant, and they were out there begging, panhandlers. Well, I never have been one to give people money, but I offered many times to buy them a meal. And I'm talking about going into a nice truck stop. I'm talking about with the I forget the name of it. It was something Skillet. But anyway, it was a really nice restaurant inside this truck stop. And no, I really just need the money. So I'd go in and spend $15 on them a meal, but they'd rather me give them $2 so they can go buy booze. So you see, I've had experience with these people. You know, panhandlers make much more than minimum wage. And it's past time that we started enforcing vagrancy laws. You know, these cities have vagrancy laws. You can't be a vagrant. Do you know, I remember when I was a kid, I heard the story that if you don't have $3 in your pocket and the police stop you, they can arrest you for being a vagrant. Now, that's the truth. I swear to God. I swear to God, that's what I heard all my life growing up. I don't know if it's true or not. But according to my dad, and I don't think he lied, and I don't think my granddaddy lied, but they told me that if you don't have $3 in your pocket, you can go to jail for being a vagrant, which means you can't take care of yourself. You're a pain on society. Democrat liberals don't want us to think people choose to be homeless. They don't want us to think that. They want us to think that Trump has pushed us to the limit to where people just have no recourse anymore. They have to go to the streets. Well, let me tell you, if you ever went to the streets, if you ever saw the syringes on the ground, if you ever saw the decadent lifestyle, the decadent sexual lifestyle of these people, I mean, I'm going to tell you, it's like walking into hell. I made it a point one time to walk down a street in Atlanta. I was doing a glass job. I used to do high-rise glass. And there was this one street. It was nothing but tents. So me and my buddy, I said, let's go see what these people are doing. Let me tell you something. That was the nastiest one stretch of sidewalk I've ever seen in my life. These people are pooping on the ground, peeing on the ground. They're in these little makeshift overhangs that they make out of a tarp, you know, and you're walking down the street and these people are laying in there screwing around, doing all kind of stuff, doing drugs, smoking crack. I mean, come on. I'm not going to buy into it. And I don't care if you get mad. I'm not going to be a pussyfooter about it. I'm not a libtard. And I'm going to tell you right now, you don't have to be homeless unless you choose to. And that's my opinion. Just my opinion. You have to remember, this is deplorable, Bobby, the way I see it. Just because I say it doesn't make it fact. You know, call me mean, call me inhumane, because I have little pity for these panhandling beggars on the street. I really do. I have little. I have nothing for them. You know, I refuse to give money to people on the streets simply because they'll never use it for any good. I donate to causes that help people, such as the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and I donate to orphanages. See, that's where you ought to put your money. Don't be driving down the street of one of these cities and see homeless on the street with a sign, hungry, please help. You'll never see I will work for food. And I guarantee you, if you do see a sign that says I work for food, he won't. He just uses the sign, because who's going to pull over and give him money that has a job for him? Nobody. And if 1 out of 100 says, hey, man, I got some leaves you can rake. No, thanks. I'll catch the next guy. You see where I'm going? This is what it's all about. I've seen this. I've lived on the streets of Atlanta when I worked. I worked in high rises all over the country. I've seen these homeless, and I've seen the way they act and the way they carry on. You know, I'm not one of the people who are against all homeless people. You know, I do think that, yeah, there are some that just hit rough ends and they don't know what to do. But you got to get street smart real quick, and you got to realize that there's places you can go. There's places for help. You don't have to live on the streets. There are missions, and there are homes for women. There's home for women, for children. I mean, you have to apply to these services, and you have to try to get in, but you don't have to stay on the street, even if you wind up on the street. You can always come out. We can always, that's what the whole thing Trump wants to do. He wants to bring these people out of this squalor and give them not just a place to live, but giving them an occupation, a job. You know, let them feel productive. Let's help these people be productive members of society. But you're going to have that core of the homeless that will never leave. They'll always be there because they're drug addicts, prostitutes, and just low lives that don't want to do anything for themselves. They want society to feed them from hand to foot. You know, it's sad that these people have to live on the street. I could never imagine it. I really couldn't. I could never imagine sleeping under a bridge or an overpass. Now, don't get me wrong. I've camped out under a few bridges when I'd go fishing. Sometimes I'd go fishing all night. I'd get tired and I'd lay down in my sleeping bag and take a nap under a bridge, but I was fishing. So I've never been under a bridge because I had nowhere to go. You know, I used to not feel this way about the homeless. You know, I've offered to buy them food. I've offered to do a lot of things for them, even use them for work for a day. But they don't want nothing. They don't want none of that stuff. All they want is the money. And I hate to say that. Believe me, it hurts me. As a Christian, it hurts me to say that there are people on the streets of our cities that are that low life and are so far gone. I'm not going to tell you that I'm a saint by any means. I'm going to tell you, I've had my ups and downs in my lifetime. I'm 64 years old. I grew up in the hippie generation. I've tried just about every drug you could ever try. But by the grace of God, I lived through it without going insane. But I've been there. I've done that. It was many, many years ago, but I still remember. And by remembering, so you have to remember the past so you don't repeat it in the future. So we have to do the same thing with the homeless. You know, we can try to help, but if they don't want the help, then let them go. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time on a lost cause. Because I'm going to tell you, if you try to help a homeless person that doesn't want to be helped, he's going to pretend, oh, yes, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. And he's going to steal from you. So let me tell you, stay away from them. We need to work hard. We really do. We need to try to get the homeless off the street. But what we need to do, maybe we need to enforce some laws. I mean, come on, you got people on the street all day shooting up heroin all day long. That's against the law. Oh, no, but you can't lock them up. Then we'd have to feed them. You see? So it's corruption, the judicial system. You know, they never meet. If you took every criminal that is homeless, if you took every criminal and you screened him and you went through his background and you did some research, 90% of them belong behind bars just because of the laws they broke. Not just the drugs that they do. I'm not going to condemn anybody for doing drugs. I mean, you know, you can get to a place, you try it, and then the next thing you know, you're hooked. I'm not going to condemn them for having an addiction. But I will condemn them for using that addiction to not work, to not be a productive member of society. I've never not worked. I've never not been a productive member of society. I've paid taxes since I was 17 years old when I went in the military. I mean, come on. I was making let me take that back, $88 a month when I went in the military. Come on, as a private, I was making $88 a month. And I was doing doggone good. Of course, that was another time and another place. But these same people have every opportunity to get help. They just refuse. I'm going to be honest with you. I've got some other stuff here. But this stuff, I want to talk to y'all about this for a minute. And give me some feedback. Leave me some comments because it's hard for me to look at the chat, with trifocals and look at the paper and all that kind of stuff. But I want y'all to think about some stuff. I want y'all to think about some stuff and let me know if you think I should bring these stories to you. Because I've went back today over 500 scripts that I've written over the last year. And I've come across some things that I'll just be honest with you, I used to report on all the time. Before I started doing live streams, I did videos. And the videos I did were about abortion, kidnapping, child trafficking, child sex trafficking, child abuse, pedivores, pedophiles, the whole 9 yards. And but I'll tell you, some of this stuff I need to tell again because we don't hear it, but we need to be aware. Our children, I'm going to tell you, my friends, if y'all give me the go ahead, if you'll tell me, yeah, go ahead and do it. Wednesday night, I'm going to hit these up and I'm going to talk about the ninth circle. I'm going to talk about the ninth circle satanic rule in Europe. I'm going to talk about how they have organized hunts and they kill children. I want to talk about Molech and adrenochrome and Kuru disease. And I want to talk a little bit about maybe I should change his name. Maybe I shouldn't say it what it really is. What can I call him? I don't really know. Mohammed? No, I'm not going to worry about it. YouTube can block this video. I don't care. Muhammad. Well, I'm going to tell you the truth about Muhammad. I know a whole lot about Muhammad. And then we're going to talk about how pedophilia is now a normal sexual orientation in California. So it's time that we look back at some of these issues. You know, we worry about the news of the day and the impeachment and all this kind of stuff with the election. But the fact of the matter is, under all that, we still have pedophiles, pedivores. We have pedophilia everywhere. We have child trafficking, child sex trafficking, human trafficking. I'm going to tell you, this stuff goes on under your noses in your own towns, in your own cities, in your streets, in your own neighborhoods. So it's winding down. I'm going to try to make it for a couple more minutes. I'm pretty much out of everything. But I just want you to remember, we are not headed for a civil war. I don't want to shoot you. And I don't want you to shoot me. We need not be angry at one another. You and I should stand firm together, shoulder to shoulder, and look at the true enemy. And I'm not saying Trump is the enemy. I'm not saying that. But in places like Virginia, the government is. So you see, it could turn that way. If Hillary, oh my God, if she was president, we'd have already had a revolution. We would have had a revolution and a civil war inside the revolution had she been president. This woman would have destroyed the world with nuclear bombs. You know, somebody told me the other day, well, she's going to jump back in the race. I hope she does. I'd love to see Trump her again. I mean, come on. I love it when those panty-waist liberals, such as social justice warriors, cry their little hearts out and have to go see their psychologist because they just can't cope with the loss. But you see there again, call me hard case, call me hard-hearted, I don't care. When it comes to President Trump against Hillary Clinton or any demon rat, I'm not worried. We're going to have President Trump again. And here, let me tell you this. Now think about it like this. Okay, President Trump is impeached in the House. Okay, let's impeach him in the Senate. Okay? What that will do, if he is impeached in the Senate, which is what they should do, but they should drag it out until November. Okay, drag it out. And then impeach him. Kick him out of the White House. Okay, he's had his 4 years minus 1 month. Okay? Pence fills in for a month, then guess who's going to be on the ticket to run for president a month later? It's going to be Donald Trump, because they made his first presidency null and void when they impeached him. See, when you impeach a president and remove him from office, you remove him from office like he was never there. So think about it like this now. We've had President Trump for 4 years going on, okay? And we're going to have him till at least September or October this year. So they impeach him. Guess what? He's got 2 more terms that he can serve, because the first term is null and void. So now he can get reelected in 2024. And if he lives long enough, he can get reelected again in 2028. See what I'm saying? Let him impeach him. He'll be back, and he'll be back. You know, it's like the old song that Johnny Cash and Waylon and all them guys did, called The Highwayman. I'll be back again. You know, it talks about coming back over and over again. And Trump's going to do just that. He's going to keep coming back. They're not going to impeach him. That was just a thought I had, that if they did impeach him, well, that would make null and void his first presidency, so he could run 2 more times. It might be the first time in history in America that we've had a president with 3 terms. I mean, that's never happened before. So let's see what happens. Dangerous Freedom, thank you for bringing here right. The Highwayman, you got it, brother. 12B Georgia, Luciano, Fred Knott, my dear brother in 12B Georgia. I appreciate you guys for being here. Linda, Miss Mary, Elite Archery, thank you, my dear friend. Scott, thank you. California Critic, Rooster Cogburn, always good to see you, my friend. Liberty Smith, glad you're here. Benny May, let's see, Elite Archery again. And Margot, Tony Patriot, Ashley, thank you all for being here. I'm going to get out of here a few minutes early. I'm not going to run over. I've said about all I can say for tonight. And I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for hanging with me. I'll tell you what we're going to do next is I might just do a video on one of these tomorrow, because this stuff's really eating at me. I want to do something with it. So y'all let me know if you want to hear it live or put it on a video. But here's what's going to happen. Sunday morning at 11 a.m., I'm going to be coming live with a Sunday morning Bible study. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a teacher. I don't try to persuade you to believe one thing or the other. I try pretty much to give you a history lesson about things that you've heard of but never really maybe understood. So anyway, I'm going to try to give you my understanding the way it's been given to me on the scriptures of the Bible. Right now we're working in Genesis. We're around Genesis 20 or something like that. I have to look. But we're going to be okay. Gloria Lucas, thank you for being here. And I want to tell y'all people, I love you. Thank you. It means a lot just spending time with me. You know, I know y'all are busy. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. DM, the best mod on all of YouTube. Everybody, if you don't know anybody, grab them up. My name's Deplorable Bobby, and this is the way I see it. Oh, I got to tell you, tomorrow night, 9 p.m., DM and History Beat. Can't forget them. Disabled Vets Perspective, Sunday night at 7 p.m. Tony Patriot, Thursday night. You have Pete, the Patriot, I think, goes on at 9 on Sunday. And maybe American Joe. I'm not sure. So y'all go to American Joe and Pete the Patriot and check out their schedule so you don't miss those 2 guys, because they go live a lot of different times. But it's just too much for me to remember if I don't write it down. So forgive me, Joe, and forgive me, Pete, that I don't know exactly when you go live. California Critic, a dear friend of mine. Sunday night, here's what we're thinking about doing. We're going to have a Dangerous Deplorables at 8 p.m. Dangerous Freedom and myself. We're going to have California Critic, and we're going to have another special guest. We're going to get Tactical Technician back in here with us. I know y'all love him, and I know you love California Critic. So Sunday night at 8 p.m., Tactical Technician California Critic on a panel with Dangerous Deplorables. So be sure you check that out. I'll be putting something on there here in a little while, maybe Sunday morning about it. So be sure you check my channel out, see what time we're coming live. It'll be 8 p.m. California Critic and Technical Technician. I have to think about that every time I say it. All right, love you guys. I'm going to get out of here. We got 5 minutes to spare, so go find somebody to watch. Support them. Hit the like button on the way out. I love y'all. Talk to you Sunday at 11 a.m. at the Bible study.